very happy new year from all of us at Car and Bike. I'm Siddharth Vinayak Patankar. This is a brand new episode of the Car and Bike Show. Yes, this new year has started off, well, it's a bit of a rocky start, but you know what? All we can do when it comes to the pandemic, you and me, we can just be extra careful. But the good news is that when it comes to automobiles, there's a lot of promise in this year. Today, we bring you a brand new car, the iX from BMW, the first electric from the Bavarian carmaker. But we'll begin with a look at the new generation of the TVS Jupiter, best-selling scooter for TVS. It's one that has been highly anticipated. In fact, we've been waiting for it for a long time. Preetham had a good stab at it and brings you the complete review.
The Jupiter 125 is TVS Motor Company's latest scooter, which is actually an extension of the company's best-selling Jupiter brand with a 125cc model. At first glance, the Jupiter 125 looks fresh with a brand new design. From the front apron with the LED DRLs, there are body-colored bits across the floorboard and the inside of the front apron. And there's plenty of chrome inserts around the LED headlight and on the side panels. The part analog, part digital speedometer offers all necessary information, including fuel consumption, distance to empty and instantaneous fuel consumption figures, as well as trip meters. But Bluetooth connectivity is something which isn't offered on the Jupiter 125 yet. Next to the multi-function key is a USB charging socket, and there's ample room on the footboard. The seat offers plenty of real estate and boasts of being the longest seat in its class. And there's best-in-class 33 liters of under-seat storage space. There's a lot to differentiate it from its 110cc sibling, even though the basic design is still conservative. It isn't just slapping on a new badge and bigger engine. The Jupiter 125 is a completely new scooter from the ground up and definitely looks a little premium and upmarket.
The new TVS Jupiter 125 sits at a very interesting space in the 125cc scooter segment. While TVS's N-Torque 125 is sportier, more performance-oriented, this one, the Jupiter 125, is built and positioned as a family scooter built for comfort, practicality, and fuel economy. So it gets a few new things. For starters, the engine is not shared with the N-Torque 125. This one is a 2-valve motor, and it gets completely new design, completely new chassis, suspension, everything. It gets a few nifty features. The fuel filler cap has been moved to the front because the fuel tank has been moved below the footboard. That has opened up a lot of space under the seat. All of 33 liters, massive under-seat storage space. And there's ample footboard space, wide and longest seat in its class. And this one, TVS says, offers the best of all worlds: comfort, styling, and fuel economy.
The ergonomics and riding position are quite friendly and should be comfortable for riders of different height and build. Straight off, it doesn't feel breathtakingly quick. But once on the move, the mid-range acceleration builds up nicely. Power delivery is smooth and linear, and there's no unwelcome harshness felt from the engine. The start-stop system works seamlessly, and just a twist of the throttle at stoplights fires it up instantly and silently.
The new 2-valve engine is quite smooth and refined. Acceleration is also quite nice as long as you're around 60-70 kilometers per hour speed. So if you're riding mostly within the city, if you're staying within 50 to 70 kilometers per hour, Acceleration is quite nice, quite quick, and overall feel of the engine is quite smooth and refined. During a test, we clocked a top speed of 90 kilometers per hour. That's the maximum we could do, but speed acceleration slows down beyond 75 kilometers per hour. So to get from 75 to 90 takes a little bit of time. Overall ride quality is quite comfortable, runs on 12-inch wheels, telescopic front suspension, so even over bumps, road undulations, speed breakers, it performs quite nicely. During our test runs, we got fuel economy of 46 to 47 kilometers per liter. But if you're riding primarily in the city at 50-60 kilometers per hour speeds, you'll easily get upwards of 50 kilometers per liter is what we estimate. Overall, no complaints whatsoever on the performance and the ride and handling part.
The Jupiter 125 offers good agility and handling as well. Around the corner, the scooter remains planted and stable, something which is certainly welcome. And when the road surface deteriorates, the suspension soaks up most potholes and broken patches quite easily.
The new Jupiter 125 rides well, it's quite fuel efficient. Overall design is safe and conservative, so it'll be universally appealing. You can ride it, the whole members, the entire family can ride it, so nothing much to complain about. The chrome inserts, that's the kind of thing people in this segment like. Personally, I'm not so much a fan of these chrome inserts. Overall, nothing really to dislike about the scooter. But prices begin at 73,400 for the base variant and goes up to 81,400 for a top spec variant.
There's no doubt the TVS Jupiter 125 is an impressive scooter in its segment. And for its base price, it offers terrific value for money, with its price significantly lower than rivals in the segment. For anyone looking for a scooter high on practicality and fuel economy, this is one scooter that definitely deserves to be on the list of considerations.
That is the new TVS Jupiter. Please react to it. You know you can reach me at Sid Patankar on Twitter. And remember to follow all of our reviews on our YouTube channel as well in case you missed them here on the show. Go to youtube.com/carandbike and you get all of them there. Now the iX will be joining the likes of the Mercedes EQC, the Jaguar I-Pace, the Audi e-tron and the e-tron Sportback. There's a bunch of high-end SUVs that are also electric that are now available in India. So how does the iX really stand up to all of them? Well, my first impression is what I have for you after a short break. Welcome back. The iX comes in a bunch of colors, of course, but this particular one is a BMW individual shade, which means you have to specially order it. It's called Aventurine Red, and it also goes kind of with this gold, bronze kind of trim that you see on the grille and all of these metal elements across the car. Of course, the alloy wheel pattern is also specific to this car. It's a high energy efficient alloy, but it doesn't have the gold inserts, thank God. All right. Now, that's not all you want to know about this car for sure. There's a lot more. My first drive impression on the new BMW iX. I'm back at the BMW Group's training center just outside of New Delhi, the same place where this car made its India debut. The iX, the first electric from BMW for our market. Now, today I get a chance to finally drive this car. Yes, I've been itching to do it, but you know what? I'm not calling this a review simply because, well, we get a very limited run on driving it today. So don't be fooled by anyone telling you that this is a review. It's just a first drive because, well, we showed you the first look and now it's the first drive experience that we're going to bring you.
The iX is based on BMW's CLAR or Cluster Architecture platform with its carbon core that powers all rear-wheel drive BMWs. The structural elements are made from high-strength steel and recycled aluminium, while there's extensive use of carbon fiber too. The reason BMW has gone with an SUV as its flagship EV is clear: the popularity of the body style and the rival EVs like the Mercedes EQC, Audi e-tron, Tesla Model X and Jaguar I-Pace. But the big idea today is not to discuss the features or design. No, sir. The focus today is to tell you how the BMW iX drives. In India, we're getting the iX xDrive 40, the less powerful of the two variants available globally.
For me now, there's been a slew of electrics I've been driving, and so this doesn't feel foreign or different for that reason. As a BMW, sure, it does feel different, and you know what, of course it's going to. I think the first thing you have to get used to when you get into the iX is the shape of the steering wheel. It's not round, and that is something different for sure, because even when you're making a tight turn, which I'll admit, today I'm not doing too many of them, but I have tried to do a little bit of a higher speed stop, turn and run, and yeah, the wheel certainly feels different, like that. Now I'd imagine that this would feel a little odd driving with this shape of a steering wheel, but having done it now for a couple of times, it's not difficult at all. In fact, in many ways it's nicer. The hexagonal wedges actually give you a nicer traction when you're turning, but it's all a matter of getting used to. And now I realize that I'm going on and on about the wheel, so let me tell you other things as well.
The iX has a 76.6 kilowatt-hour battery, which is placed low in the floor. There are two motors, one on each axle. The combined power output stands at 322 bhp, while the car's top speed is 200 kilometers per hour.
Depending on how you drive this car, what your driving character is, what mode you're in, and also the conditions, BMW claims a driving range that goes from 372 to 425 kilometers on a full charge. Here in India, the expectation is that it should still touch about 400, says BMW India. That part is something I can't test today.
Charging the battery is possible on AC and DC chargers. The car comes with the 11 kilowatt BMW wall box for an overnight charge. Fast charging is possible on a maximum 150 kilowatt fast charger.
I'm driving the car in sport mode. You get personal, which is like an individual mode, and then you also have efficient, which is where most electric cars should stay. But today I'm going to be shameless and try and keep it in sport throughout, because it's a really short, tiny distance that I'm getting to drive. In sport mode, the acceleration is fantastic. I have already done a nice quick burst to 100 kilometers per hour, because the good part of being in a controlled environment is that I don't have to worry about anybody coming in my way. There's no traffic. Yes, it can do 0 to 100 in 6.1 seconds. So I heard from a lot of my European colleagues, people who have driven the car extensively, that the one thing about the iX that really stands out is how it doesn't drive like an SUV, and it's really fast. First impression, they weren't kidding.
On the safety front, the iX gets 8 airbags, brake assist, cruise control with braking function. There's also the tire pressure monitoring system, dynamic stability control, driver assist features like lane change warning with active return, blind spot detection, front collision warning, auto braking, and some of these features are M-Drive systems, but the iX gets them as standard. There's one more thing that adds a zing to the iX, and that's the all-wheel drive system. The advanced all-wheel drive or xDrive is intelligent enough to provide traction when needed.
The electric xDrive, that's something new from BMW, because of course it works like an all-wheel drive system, but this car maintains its rear bias because it is a BMW. And the good part though is that there is torque on demand on all four wheels. The car senses the kind of traction requirement the situation presents and then sends accordingly the power and torque to each of the four wheels. And that is pretty much how the regular xDrive works, so it's nice that that's been carried over to the electric universe as well.
The iX is the foundation to it all because it stays true to what you expect from a BMW SUV. In 2021, BMW brought out 3 all-electric cars in Europe, the iX3, i4 and the iX, and these are now being launched in markets worldwide. In the near future, you're going to see an electric 7 Series, 5 Series, and even the X1 is going EV. Mini will go all-electric soon, and there's even the first ever electric Rolls-Royce coming soon called Spectre.
The iX has the electrochromatic roof. It goes a little bit transparent and otherwise goes opaque at the touch of a button. It's a nice touch. Alright, speaking of a nice touch, I am now putting the car into sport and making sure that everything is on its most hyper performance oriented driving mode. Alright. The reason? Well, I wanted to see how it feels in terms of not just how it stiffens up, but also its handling. Oh yes. I don't know who had put it in sport settings before me and pretty much dulled it all down to comfort. And now the steering feels nice and stiff. Now the throttle and the suspension also feel exceedingly different. I like it. It's a lot more BMW-like now, I can tell you.
Yes, sport mode is no doubt where the iX's true credentials shine. Though again, a longer, more comprehensive drive would be the better way to really be able to judge that.
I've tried to get an impression driving this car in different modes. Of course, I still need a nice long drive. You can understand that. But I'm going right back to sport mode. What's interesting about sport mode is that even the seats kind of tighten up. The whole car almost sends you this very obvious message that it's ready for performance. Now, that happens in many cars, right? You get the throttle response that changes, the suspension, the steering. But on a car like this, which is trying to send out a message and also stand by its claim of being a true BMW, that's an important touch. So I'm happy with the handling and the ride quality. Well, okay, it's a luxury segment offering, so the good part is that nobody's going to be disappointed on that front either. There's a little drive mode here. You know, when you put the car in D for drive, you can also put it in B. And I was a little flummoxed as to what that is, but that's the brake energy recuperation mode. So there's no paddles to set different grades of brake energy regeneration. What you can do is put it into B, and then that gives you the single pedal driving experience that you get so used to on all things electric.
At 1 crore 16 lakh rupees, the iX is not cheap. It does come as a completely built unit, but the fact that the first lot has already been sold out shows that there is good demand. In fact, the second round of bookings for the car will open sometime in the first quarter of this year. And yes, we may also get the xDrive 50 variant with its 111 kWh battery and 520 bhp output next year. But first, we're going to get the i4 sedan, which arrives around June.
Leather everywhere, a giant curved screen, the first time BMW's ever done one like that. That steering wheel, which isn't of course round, and a little bit of subtle wood and glass that's been thrown in. Very different design for a BMW cabin for sure. More on this, well, you'll get more details which obviously didn't cover in this first drive because we've already done that on our first look. That was the static look at the car. So go to our YouTube channel and you will find all these details about the car right there in another video. With that, it's time for me to say goodbye. Once again, a very happy new year from all of us at CNB. I hope that all of you are keeping safe. Much love and warm wishes to all of your friends and family as well. And please join us next week. Please wear your seatbelts or your helmets. Bye-bye.